going on, everybody? AB Media 83 here. And today we're going to be talking about Bidenomics. I already know what you're thinking. What the hell is Bidenomics? Well, to make a long story short, it's Joe Biden's idea of economics. So, without further ado, I'm gonna let you hear from the horse's mouth himself. All right, there we go. All right, let's get started.
Carry out my economic vision to move from trickle down economics what, to what everyone on Wall Street Journal, from the Wall Street Journal Financial Times, is called Bidenomics.
Translation: trickle down economics on steroids. But anyway,
It's about growing the economy from the middle out and the bottom up, and because when that happens, the folks in the bottom have a shot. They get a chance to raise up, and the wealthy still do very well. It's not to
no, the middle is being hauled out, and everybody at the bottom is not doing well at all, despite wages growing up. It has not kept up with inflation. So,
hurt anyone at all. But today's job shows that I think jobs report I think shows that Bidenomics is working. We had 200,000 jobs.
jobs that probably don't pay with
All told, we've created over 13 million. I think it's 13,300,000.
and people are still struggling to pay their rent.
In 2.5 years. That's more than any president ever created in a 4-year term. And folks, the unemployment rate is below 4% for 17 straight months. Not since 1960 has that occurred. Inflation continues to fall.
Because baby boomers and Gen Xers have retired from the workforce. That's the only reason why it's that low.
It's less than half of what it was a year ago. And the rate of Americans without health insurance is at an all-time low. Premiums are covered. Payments for coverage of the Affordable Care Act are $800 less per person than before I took office. And that's Bidenomics.
Wolf.
Now, before we get to this video, let's talk about this for a minute. According to, so let me remove this for a minute. So, according to Joe Biden, Bidenomics is doing well, is doing great for the economy, and we have nothing to worry about, right? Well, here's my thoughts on Bidenomics. As you can see from the title, Bidenomics, let's get high. High inflation, high food prices, high car prices, high housing prices, high rent, high student debt, high gas prices, high tech prices, high plane prices, high used car prices. Yes, me, that's the what's going on, Jay Moore? Jay Moore, that's the Bidenomics in a nutshell. Once again, Bidenomics, let's get high. High inflation, highest inflation within 40 years. High food prices. Food prices are coming down a little bit, but not prices. High rent. Rent has not come down. High gas prices. Gas is still over $3 a gallon. It was in the 2 range when Trump was in office. High used car prices. High tech prices. It's hard to get good computers nowadays. High plane prices. Well, you can't totally blame that on him, but you can blame his transportation secretary for being a lazy piece of shit. But anyway, high student debt, you can't blame that on him. High student debt, high housing prices, and once again, high inflation. But according to Joe Biden, Bidenomics is doing such a great job. Yes, I should have put that on there. High blood pressure. I actually should have put that on there. High blood pressure. But you know what? You don't have to take my word for it. Don't take. I'll be upfront. Don't take my word for it. Don't take it my word for it at all. Listen to this is let me give him a second. I want to get this dude's name right. This is George Galloway, and he's talking to the economist Dr. Richard Wolff. Let's hear what Richard Wolff has to say about Bidenomics, shall we?
You're always a welcome guest here on the Mother of All talk shows, and I'm glad that you could join us this evening. Tell us about this Bidenomics.
Well, mostly Bidenomics is pretty much the standard kind of mishmash of half-baked ideas designed to keep the base of the political party, the Democratic Party, reasonably happy, sound
And most of them ain't happy either.
good to as many other people as possible, carefully avoid honestly dealing with any problem at all, lest it be understood as recognizing that that problem exists. And that's what you have. You sent Mr. Blanken to China a few days ago. He tried to do something that was a little less aggressive than has been the norm. But while he was doing that, his boss, Mr. Biden, geared up to call Xi Jinping a dictator, because Americans really like to hear about how dictators are elsewhere, whereas we here live in the greatest democracy the world has ever seen.
Yeah, that's bullshit, but go ahead.
Etc., etc., etc. Janet Yellen's trip, whatever it contains, will for sure carry on with suggestions that the Chinese should change their economic system, they should change their government, and they should be kinder to the Uyghur minority. This coming from a country that has much greater problems with minorities than China has ever had, treats them, and a larger number of them,
Yep, they still ain't cut the jet to black folk yet.
much worse than what you see in China, not to defend the Chinese, but the hypocrisy, the behavior, it is for a growing number of Americans, above all, embarrassing. But let me answer.
Yep, it is embarrassing. Our country does other countries and then tries to take the moral high ground. It's fucking embarrassing.
Your question directly. The biggest economic problems of the United States can be summarized in this way. We are a declining empire, following in our decline a similar trajectory to what happened to the British Empire a century earlier.
Sad, but very true. Those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it.
We are a capitalism that has produced a level of inequality that is fundamentally unsustainable because it clashes so basically with the carefully cultivated self-image of the United States as not being torn apart by extremes of wealth and poverty. Mr. Biden, like his Republican counterparts, says not one word about either of these. For many of us watching who have been born and raised and lived in the United States all of our lives, like me, what is the most stunning thing about Bidenomics is its utter emptiness, its utter denial of the most fundamental problems. How are you going to deal with a population?
Now, keep in mind, this is an economist. This dude is way smarter than me when it comes to this kind of stuff. And he's telling you that Bidenomics is bullshit.
That thought the American empire would go on and be dominant forever, more and more. Now that the BRICS have a bigger economic footprint in the world than.
Just for context, the BRICS is Brazil. I hope I get this right. BRICS is Brazil, Russia, China, and South Africa. Those countries have come together to start their own money system, and it's starting to compete with the U.S. That's one of the reasons why inflation's out of control and your prices are so high, because people are tired of the U.S.'s bullshit. It is what it is.
Does the G7, the United States and its allies, now that the Chinese have demonstrated that they can do the technical wonders that the United States once pretended were uniquely its own creation, and on.
I didn't put up there, but fair use,
and on and on. There is a disconnect between not just the government and the mass of people, but the media, but the academic establishment. There is a gulf opening up in this country, which probably will have more to do with what happens in the future than anything else. We are making colossal mistakes. Ukraine.
Now, Dr. Wolf, don't talk about Ukraine like that. Don't talk about the proxy war within Ukraine like that.
Is only the most recent misunderstanding of what the relation of forces really is. Remember, our president told us that the ruble would become rubble in a matter of weeks.
Let's see. Yeah, that's right. Dr. Joe Biden did say the ruble will become rubble in a matter of weeks. Let's see. It's what is it? What is it? Oh, a year and a half later, and Russia's still running strong. So strong that Joe Biden had to send dirty bombs over to Ukraine just so they can survive. Oh, illegal dirty bombs at that. Oops, did I say that out loud? Anyway.
Happen that the Russian economy would disintegrate in a matter of weeks. Didn't.
Like I said, it's a year and a half later. Oops.
Happen. That the Ukrainians would be victorious. Didn't happen. I could keep going, but the point should be clear. We are not a society that is able anymore to make reasonable decisions because it is so busy denying the fundamental crisis it faces.
You say you could go on and on. I wish you would go on and on. I'd rather.
Yeah, me too.
Give the whole show now over to you. But let me take you back to Reaganomics. I'm so old, I remember when that was a thing. And
for those of you who don't know what Reaganomics is, it's pretty much trickle-down economics, or as I like to call it, piss-on-you economics. Yeah, that's right. I call trickle-down economics piss-on-you economics. Oh, and by the way, piss-on-you economics was put on steroids by not Ronald Reagan, but by Bill Clinton. What you think welfare reform was? What do you think Bill Clinton meant when he said the era of big government is over? That was him declaring piss-on-you economics was the way to go. That's why, and that's also why he got rid of Glass-Steagall, which led to the housing crisis of 2008. Oops, did I say that out loud?
A good friend of mine, Nico House, said the difference between Reaganomics and Bidenomics is that in Reaganomics, the wealth was supposed to trickle down. In Bidenomics, the wealth just effing disappears.
Yeah, pretty much. Effing disappears into Ukraine, or probably most likely U.S. military contractors, but you know.
Is that a fair characterization?
Well, yeah.
By the way, shout out to Nico House. I watch him from time to time.
Yes, I would amend it slightly. Reaganomics was an argument about a trickle down that never happened. And Mr. Biden is a president who rails against Reaganomics, but does absolutely nothing to deal with the fact that not only did the wealth not trickle.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you said that, because here's how I look at it. We'll get back to the video in a minute. Here's how I look at it. The way the Democrats are playing around with Joe Biden, here's what's going to happen. Trump can get elected again. Trust and believe. Yeah, everybody knows the asshole, and I admit he's a criminal. But Trump can get elected again. And there's precedence for this. Look up the name Grover Cleveland. He was your 22nd president, and he was your 24th president. There's precedence for him to be 47. But these knuckleheads run around acting like vote blue no matter who's going to shame somebody into voting for Joe Biden.
Down, but it is crystal clear that in a magical denial of gravity, it trickled up, that we have had a growing inequality that has actually gotten worse, both at the time of Reagan and now. We have had a 40, 50 years of uninterrupted redistribution of wealth up
to the top. I forget the exact numbers, but the top 1% owns like something. It's something absurd, like 15% of the entire wealth in the entire damn country. The bottom 90% owns something like something it's absurd numbers. Something like 10% of the wealth in the country. But you think this shit's not going to collapse on our head?
Upward. And that is causing this country to blow apart. The support that I'm sure interests Europeans, support for white supremacy, the support for an out of control, endless liar, grifter, a hustler like Trump, the creation of more and more like.
Yep, he is a hustler. You can't. There's no denying about that. He's also a liar. But so are most politicians. So that's why I'm like, pick one.
Him. They all feed off of the bitter anger of masses of people whose jobs are insecure, whose incomes are now inadequate, who went through the redistribution of wealth, then the crash of our economy.
Let's talk about this for a minute. We're going to get back to this, but let me talk about this for a minute. This is why. Yeah, that's me. How's it going? This is why I didn't get mad at white folk for not voting for Hillary Clinton. You want to know why I didn't get mad at white folk for voting for Hillary Clinton, for not voting for Hillary Clinton? Is because most of those, I guarantee you, if you looked at where she lost at, most of those white folks remember Bill Clinton shipping their jobs overseas. Nobody talks about that, but I will. To your face on camera. Yeah, I know my eye doesn't exactly look at the camera. I'm legally blind. There's nothing I can do about that. But I was not mad when white folks didn't vote for Hillary Clinton at all because I understood where they were coming from. Let's get back to the video.
In 2020, then the pandemic, now the inflation, now the rising interest rates. It's almost a
By the way, y'all hit the cash app for this fire I'm giving.
Biblical situation of 7 plagues, only they're economic, they're matters of choice of a government so far disconnected that the majority of people left, right, and center hate the government, have no confidence, no belief in anybody who comes forward. We will have in the presidential election, and I sure hope Europeans pay attention.
I'm sorry, I gotta take a dig because I gotta take a dig. I can't help it. There's some brothers in this space, the Black Brain Trust, that refuse to tell you this shit. Yeah, I'm calling you motherfuckers out. I'm tired of y'all rubbing your nose in everybody's place because we didn't kiss the Democrat Party's ass hard enough. All right, let me get back to the video.
We will have one candidate who has now announced that he will run on the Green Party, a man named Cornel West, that I'm sure.
Yes, sir. Dr. Cornel West. He may not win, but I have to shout Dr. Cornel West out because he actually gave me a real third option this time around.
Many of you know of. He will be saying, and he will be the only one talking about the real problems, the real crisis. We just had a Supreme Court in a country where white policemen shoot black people on a regular basis, not like in France.
Oh, by the way, the truth of the matter is it's even worse than that. They don't just shoot black people, they shoot poor white people too. But that doesn't get reported.
Every so often, and look what happened in France. No, we've routinized it. But our Supreme Court just took away a program called affirmative action on the premise that, and I quote you now, we no longer have a problem of racial inequality and racial discrimination.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
If you wanted an example of being deaf, dumb, and blind in our society, there we have it. And those are the people at the top.
Well, we will be interviewing Dr. West as soon as we can. And of course, I wish him every success. But there is another candidate, Professor.
Me too.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. with far higher name recognition, voter recognition, who's also saying some truly radical things. That's new, isn't it?
What's going on, Snowman? We're going over Bidenomics today, and now it's total horse shit. But right now, this is the economist, Dr. Richard Wolff, and he's pretty much dissecting Bidenomics for me.
Isn't it?
Yes, yes and no. I mean, we did have Bernie Sanders. And for all the things you can say about Bernie Sanders, his race in 2016 and again his race in 2020.
Where the Democrats screwed him out of the nominations. Oops, did I say that out loud?
Opened the space here in the United States for people left of center, or even if they're not themselves left of center, but they have some ideas that are left of center, they can now enter American politics. We have members of Congress who will answer the question, are you a socialist? With the word, yes, I am. We didn't have that for most of the previous half century. So we are moving forward. Kennedy is able to say some things. On the other hand, he has identified with other positions that.
Actually, to a degree, Bidenomics may be worse because a lot of people forget Reagan actually raised taxes. Oops, did I say that out loud? Oops.
Make him look very strange to many of the American people who might otherwise be interested in what he has to say. But yes, we have some. And I think you're going to see more and more of them in the years ahead because we have to rebuild what is missing in the United States.
Yep.
We have a far-right Republican Party and
a far-right Democrat Party. You just don't want to say it.
Democratic Party, which offers most of the same things, only not quite so quickly, not quite so harshly.
Y'all just wait. It is not. What do Democrats always like to tell black folk? Wait, it's not your time yet. We don't have time for reparations yet. But you have time to give Asian something.
But other than that, when we had
you have time to give the Elizabeth something. You put the Elizabeth flag. Oh, by the way, they put the Elizabeth flag in front of the White House, and it's so bad the Elizabeth are calling that shit out. But we're supposed to be shamed and voting for Joe Biden again, right?
Neoliberal globalization, they were all for that. Now that we have more economic nationalism, they're all for that. They're all for whatever the community of big business and banks feels the need to do. The political parties, the two major ones, do
Peace, Dr.
their job of gathering various communities around other issues, abortion, being able to have 27 guns in the back of your automobile, or whatever it is that excites Americans. That's their job. Get those people so they vote for the two parties who can keep a troubled capitalism going for another few years. But the rest of the world sees it.
Yeah.
They see that the United States
Yeah, the Black Brain Trust ain't gonna tell you this shit.
is not the political or economic force it once was, and the whole world is adjusting to that process.
Yep, that's why the BRICS are starting to gain steam, and countries, especially countries in Africa, are starting to sign up because they're tired of the U.S.
You asked us Europeans to look at you. Let me ask you to look at us, although you may in part be looking in a mirror. Many people in Europe, many, trust me, look at this great society that the United States is, or at least was, this can-do place, this bustling, hustling, sending men to the moon, and its great economic and cultural weight in the world, and ask themselves, how did it come to be that the pick was between Donald Trump and Joe Biden? Is that the best that you can do? And
no, not in my opinion.
I ask you to look at us because we are now experiencing the same thing. If you look at the German leadership, from Helmut Kohl down to little soldier Schulz, from de Gaulle down to Macron, from Churchill to...
By the way, France is literally burning right now because of riots, because a foreigner got killed by the police. And it was so bad, the French policemen actually surrendered, which is something I never thought I would see from a country, a first world country at least. But anyway.
To Rashid Sanouk, go figure, as Joe Biden even said. Why is the leadership of the capitalist world shrinking so?
Because it is a pure reflection of what is happening to the larger society. Mm-hmm. It is a sign that people who actually have a grasp on what's going on, who might have had the courage in the past to talk about real issues because there was a confidence that the United States could do, as you just described it, could solve the problem. There is a deep depression here in the United States, mental. We don't know what it's like to be on the decline of an empire. Every empire is born usually out of the decline of the previous one. It evolves and develops over time. Then it peaks, and then it declines. The United States believed deeply, as I'm sure many in Britain did too, that the American empire, basically the 20th century, would keep going up. There's no preparation for, there's no ability to grasp that it's over, that we are now going down.
Yep.
This is
It's a bitter pill to swallow, even for me, but it's the truth.
Difficult. And so what we have are political theatrics. We have a Trump who manufactures a world completely out of his head. We have Biden, who is too old to do anything, but represents a vague idea of going backwards to that time.
Pretty much.
When the United States could solve its problems and could face them. And so what this old man Biden does is pretend. It's all okay. We are still very strong. We are tough.
Yeah, we got people from the Black Brain Trust arguing that the economy is doing great. There's no problems whatsoever, and Biden has a strong chance of getting elected again. Okay, even though polls show that 70% of most people, even majority of Democrats, don't want to see Biden run again.
Telling the Russians what to do. We are telling the Chinese what to do. We are telling the fact that we lost the war in Vietnam and we lost it in Iraq and we lost it in Afghanistan. Americans do not get the message here. They don't. Just like they're not getting the message here about Ukraine. These things are presented to Americans in the fantastic language of a dream about what was perhaps the case in the 1970s.
Mm-hmm.
It's long gone, and what you're watching in the United States is the desperate effort to hold on. That's why Mr. Trump's slogan is "Make America Great Again."
Yep.
And Mr. Biden has nothing better than that to offer. Vague promises that nobody really believes, but no.
Think about how sad it is. I openly admit, look at the Black Brain Trust. I'm a conservative that don't know shit. I openly admit that Trump's a fucking racist and I don't agree with everything he says. But listen to what Dr. Richard Wolff is telling you about the situation. That Biden couldn't come up with anything better than "Make America Great Again," literally.
Knows where to go. And as to the view here about the Europeans, let me be very honest with you. The great mystery that is being asked is, why are all the European countries falling in line more, it seems, falling in line more than before behind the United States, even though before it might have made a certain sense, whereas now it is choosing the wrong horse in the race, and there must be Europeans who understand that there's a tremendous risk for you in Europe in betting on the United States as it loses out to where, by the way, capitalism has gone. We are acutely aware in America.
Yep.
Capitalists left the United States and moved production to China.
Pretty much all your main productions in China. China is the #1 production country in the world.
Capitalists made the decision not to invest in the United States and to make enormous investments in China. General Motors sells more automobiles to China in China than it does in the United States, and that's where their loyalty is. The biggest ally of Xi Jinping in Beijing, the biggest ally he and the Chinese have in the United States right now, are the leading mega corporations who do not want to lose their access to the labor force in China and to the growing market. Every business school graduate, and I've taught in business.
But Biden's bright idea is to divorce the economy from China and the United States. But all our manufacturing's over there. But BGS told you a long time ago, buckle up, folks.
The school is told, you want to succeed in a business, go to where the costs are minimal and the market is growing the fastest. The United States is not where the costs are minimal, and the United States is not where the market is growing fastest. China is that place, and that is a powerful force holding Mr. Biden back from going much beyond irritation, rhetoric, and symbolic play acting as if we were once the mighty America, which we aren't anymore, and which the rest of the world learns about every day. That's why you have de-dollarization. That's why you have endless signs of the same reorganized world economy. And I'm fearful at this point that unspeakable mistakes will continue to be made by the United States that will pull Europe with it, premised on a reality that is long gone.
Yep. That's where we stand at, folks. As I said earlier, don't take my word for it. Listen to what economists like Richard Wolff are saying. Don't just take my word for it. If anybody wants to come up and talk about this, you can do so now. And as I posted earlier, this is pretty much my thoughts on Bidenomics. Let's get high. If you don't get the reference, I'm saying that because they found cocaine in the White House. Isn't it funny how the guy that passed the 1994 crime bill that locked a lot of black men up for having crack cocaine, they find cocaine in his White House? Oops. But anyway, here's my thoughts on Bidenomics. Let's get high. High inflation, high food prices, high gas prices, high car prices, high housing prices, high student debt, high plane prices, high tech prices. It's hard to find computer parts now, and high used car prices. That's how bad it is. Used cars are up now, and it's causing problems. High rent, food's gone down a little, but not by much. But that's your Bidenomics in a nutshell. So if anybody wants to come up here and talk about this, there's a link. But you listen to Biden, which I played earlier, you can go back and watch the replay earlier. Biden thinks that Bidenomics is a great thing, and he's cruising on his way to re-election. Even though there's two other people trying to primary him, Marianne Williamson and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. are trying to primary Joe Biden. But if you listen to media, those people don't exist and they're not serious career candidates. In fact, it's so bad that DNC is actually saying there won't be any primary debates. We just have to suck it up and vote for Joe Biden again. Well, I'm not going to suck up and vote for anything because I didn't vote for Joe Biden in 2020. I voted for Trump. And I voted for Trump, and one of the reasons I voted for Trump is not because I thought he was necessarily the best candidate, but because I thought he was the lesser of two evils. And unfortunately, Joe Biden keeps proving me right with the goofy shit he's doing. It is what it is. As far as I'm concerned, in 2024, well, as I said earlier, shout out to Dr. Cornel West. He's actually giving me a third option. And if he's on the ballot, Cornel West might get my vote. And I already know what the vote blue, no matter who's going to say. I can hear it now. A vote for and some of them have already said this for the record. A vote for Cornel West is a vote for Donald Trump. Too bad. I'll vote for him anyway. Get over it. But let's see who's here in here. Okay. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this. And excuse my outburst later for calling out the Black Brain Fronts, but if you listen to their content, their pitch to the this is by the way, this is why nobody watches you. Their pitch to the Black manosphere is you don't kiss the Democrat Party's ass hard enough, and that's why we're smarter than you. That's their whole pitch in a nutshell. And I'm getting tired of it. They like to find the dumbest conservatives in the Black manosphere and paint everybody with a broad brush and act like we agree with everything the dumbest conservatives in the Black manosphere agree with. And that's why I called them out. Now, if they want to respond to me, that's their prerogative. I don't care. But I'm tired. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of their bullshit. Brother said he's getting his mic, so I'll wait a little bit for him to do that. And actually, I got one more video for you, and we're going to put the stream back up. It's not just me. Excuse me. And it's not just Richard Wolff. It's let's see what the Hill has to say about Bidenomics. Fair use. Fair use. Okay, we're moving a little slow. Let's see if we can refresh and see if this will speed up a little bit.
A new report in Axios alleges that President Biden to maintain composure in public, even opting to whisper when making a point, but behind closed doors. The 80-year-old commander-in-chief has a short temper. Imagine that.
The report further makes the claim that Biden aides avoid meeting Biden alone in order not to face his fury. According to aides with whom Axios spoke, his outbursts have included, quote, "Gee, damn it, how the expletive, don't you know this? Don't BS me and get the expletive out of here." The story also maintained that those close to the president acknowledged he can be tough, but aides like working for him because he is compassionate and makes them feel like family. Rising reached out to the White House for comment but has not heard back. Right, so the article...
That actually was not the right video. I'm sorry about that. And I'm not going to go find it, but all right, let's see here. Yo, what's going on? Hello?
Oh, hello.
What you got to say about this topic?
Oh, wait, give me a second. I'm hearing you from two different things right now. Give me one second.
Yeah, you got to turn your YouTube feed off.
Yeah, that was going on. My bad. All right. Honestly, the way how things are going right now, like I was saying before, is look like, like what happened with France with their whole entire monarch before when they were screwing up and how the people mobbed them and just ate them. It just seemed like that's what's going to happen here in America.
The French Revolution back in the 1900s?
Because it's just like, even as a kid, I always wonder, it's like, how are these people allowed to do this stuff? It doesn't make any sense. Why don't people just, get up and just kill? Well, I'm not kidding, but you get what I'm saying, like eradicate or do something with these people, because it doesn't make any sense how they got all this power and why do they have it. Like, it just never made sense to me until like the older I got. I realized a lot of people are just brainwashed into believing this shit until stuff hits the fan.
Yeah, a lot of people are just brainwashed to believe it till it breaks. And right now, the American system is clearly breaking, unfortunately.
And you know what's funny is like when I was younger, I used to call this thing like, like how when kids speak their minds when they're younger, like they have zero filter. And it's just like, the more I was like, this stuff doesn't make any sense. Make it make sense to me. Like, dude, why don't we just do such and such? They say, oh, you're going too far. You're thinking too evil. Blah, 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 blah. And now when I'm older, now all of a sudden, like now when I say certain, like what's it called? When I say certain things, it's like, you used to say that when you were younger. Now it makes sense. I'm like, yeah. And ain't it funny? Like a 10-year-old kid actually, sounds smarter than an adult at the time, or a 9-year-old or so. Ain't that hilarious? I can see the future better than you. Because this shit doesn't make any sense.
Sometimes it takes a while, especially when you're a black man in this country. Sometimes it takes a while for people to catch on. But is there something else you wanted to say? Hello? Y'all hear him?
Wait, let's see if it works.
You rolled out for a little bit.
Oh, my bad. I think it's the building. I think it's the signal in my house right now. It's been acting up. Like I can't reach my phone for some reason.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. Make Kamala president.
Oh, oh, yeah, no. You
Yeah.
see, you
With
see,
all
this
due
is
respect,
another thing.
Dr.
I realize how much. Oh, go ahead. What you say?
With all due respect, Dr. Dunbar, I don't think that's a good idea. As much as I don't like Joe Biden, I don't really
She's
see Kamala in
worse.
that. She works. She polls worse, and she's proven over the last 2 years she's just not equipped for the job.
And I mean, she's proven over her whole entire career that she's just a bedwench that'll go like to the utmost to prove her bedwenchery or her, try to get the
I
approval of
wouldn't
them.
necessarily call her bad when she was Willie Brown's side chick for a minute.
Hey man, what was it called? She was hopping on the first black. She was hopping on the black man dick so she could get onto the white man. So I don't really see any other way around it. She's still a bedwench. Like, oh yeah, she might have took a longer route to becoming one, but she's still one to me.
Wow, you
Doesn't seem any different.
That's interesting. You still consider her black? I don't. I don't. She's Indian.
I mean, yeah, she's just. I mean, I know she's not a black. I know she's not black, but remember, this is like honestly what you see what happened with the whole, Caucasian take over the world type situation. I realize in a lot of races, everybody like a bedwench, and yeah, she's a bedwench of her class, and she was Miss Skittles. She wants to be black, so I'm gonna call her what the fuck she is. If she want to play black, she's a bedwench of the black community.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Mm. So,
but yeah, I had to talk about Bidenomics. I didn't see anybody else talking about it, and I figured I had to talk about it.
That thing is, that's a good term. I didn't expect the Bidenomics part. Like that actually what it is.
Well, you must have came in late. That's what he calls it. That's not my term. That's
Richard Wolf's thing. That's what he was saying.
No, Joe Biden.
What the heck?
Give me 1 second. Oh crap! Let's see. Let me bring it back up. Let me zoom out, and here you go. He said it himself. I don't have time to lie on Joe Biden. I didn't even vote for him.
I carried out my economic vision to move from trickle down. Street Journal from the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times is calling Bidenomics. It's about growing the
You hear that? That's not my term. That's his.
Economy from the middle out and the bottom up, and because when that happens, the folks in the bottom have a shot. They get a chance to raise up, and the wealthy still do very well. It's not to hurt anyone at all. But
or they change the definition, but it still has the same meaning.
I think jobs report.
Like it is really like they just keep switching up like the words or the definition just to mean the same thing overall.
Sorry, I pulled you down from it. I didn't mean to do that.
And all told, we created over 13 million. I think it's 13,300,000. In 2.5 years, that's more than any president ever created in a 4-year term. And folks,
so he
the
says.
Rate is below 4% for 17 straight months. Not since 1960 has that occurred. Inflation continues to fall. It's less than half of what it was a year ago.
Yeah, but the big difference is in the 1960s, housing was affordable.
The rate of Americans.
Yeah, and it's like the more he speaks is the more like if you didn't know what's going on today, like what's really going on, you will fall for it.
Yeah.
Because he's playing wishy-washy with the numbers and the statistics.
Yeah, pretty much. To me, Bidenomics is just, rehash of Reaganomics on steroids.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I call it. It's like what's it called? I call it like white people speak. Like I haven't said it to my job before. It's like, yo, this is white people speak because it's like you guys say this. You guys just what's it called? you'll figure out to say the same thing but change up the words in the definition just to make sure it's still saying the same damn thing. It's just like you just update the damn words or update the vocabulary to match whatever definition to put in your way, and then just like it's just weird. It doesn't make. It's just it's a forked tongue. It's that type. Yeah, it's a forked tongue. It's basically the devil's tongue always moving. At this point, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I hope that made sense how I said it.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
Hey,
So,
B,
Yep.
just the doc.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you? I use his avatar. Tiger was the scientist in the Thundercats, so
Oh,
this is my. Yeah, I just want to come up real quick. If I have time, I'll come back up. But a couple things you said. Well, I didn't know there was that friction with the brain trust. I don't pay attention to everything, so I didn't know you guys had some friction. But what I'll say is the political class in the media, it's, to me, what I understand now is it's all one entity.
pretty much.
So your average American citizen is oblivious to what's really going on, and most of our black boomer parents, they're going to vote Democrat because that's the party.
Yeah.
That's the party for us. Republicans bad, Democrats good. Regardless of the crime bill, regardless of what these immigration policies are meaning for the inner cities and in the
Oh yeah, I haven't talked about
for our
that.
people.
Yeah.
They're just oblivious. And I recall someone in my circle saying, when Uncle Joe got elected, the adults are in charge again. And
I would. Okay.
there's just so much misinformation and just so much propaganda, and the majority of people are playing tribal politics. And I agree. If by chance Dr. West gets on the ballot, I'll just vote for him. I don't care if it's a vote for the other side.
Yeah.
I believe in voting interests.
Me too.
and not necessarily the person. And I think that's one of the frustrating things is that people can't separate the policies from the person. So it made sense to me, secure the borders, get a few more dollars back in our pockets. You know, that stuff made sense to me, but people just fixate on, you're a Trump supporter, you're a Trump supporter, you're a Trump supporter. Well, if Hillary had offered something, if Joe had offered something that was comparable or better, I would have voted for them, you know? And here's the thing, Biden didn't even listen to Ice Cube's plan, his contract for Black America. If he had at least shown support for that, I might have voted for Biden. But they said no. We don't want to hear anything about what you have to say. The Trump administration, they at least listened. They at least entertained Cube, you know. And those who are sorry.
Trump talked to a lot of black people. You just didn't hear about it.
Mm-hmm. And they hit that all on the news, man. And I didn't even know Biden created the damn crime bill until like after the election. I didn't even like how young I am, and I didn't know anything about like history and stuff. It's just like, dude, I didn't know, and that is like it's aggravating how much they really hid from us, and we're not learning in school. And I'm like, I gotta thank y'all for this.
But hold on, it gets better. It gets better. I mean, he orchestrated the whole student loan thing. So
I know. That's what I'm saying. I didn't even know all of that.
This whole thing is a play. It's a big play. He knew when he ran for election that this thing wouldn't go through, but he used that to garner votes, and they fell for it, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that he's one of the reasons why you cannot file bankruptcy.
Exactly.
There you go. And he knew he's been in politics for like 50 years, so he knows the system back and front. He knew that wasn't going to go through. He knew, dude. He knew that. Go ahead.
All I know is this man is old enough to be at a lynching. That's one thing for a fact, and I don't hold it. I don't hold it past him that he was at one. I really think he was at a lynching, or he is orchestrator of one. I don't. Ooh, it's just like to the point of just looking at this man or seeing like how much we, learning about what he done and stuff is just like, yeah, this dude's an evil bastard, and we were taught to like believe in this shit, and we, it's just messed
Yeah.
up overall.
Let me address my issue with the Black Flame Trust. I know what they're gonna say it is, but here's my issue. If you support the Democrat Party, you support the Democrat Party. That's not my issue. My issue is they're very disingenuous with how they support the Democrat Party, and they rub their nose in everybody's face. That's my problem with this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into big detail. Their content's up there. You can watch it for yourself. But as I said earlier, their bright idea is to go to brothers, and this is why certain people don't watch their content. Their bright idea is to go to brothers and pretty much say you don't kiss the Democrat Party's butt hard enough. They don't say it outright, but if you listen to their language, that's what they're basically saying.
Another thing, I'm getting tired of these old heads. Like if it, like I used to have the same kind of, opinion about like, oh, the boomers did this and this and this and that. And I'm like, yo, they're old, these old people and stuff. Until I ran to BGS, but it's just like
in defense of boomers, these are not boomers. These are Gen Xers.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about. That crap, either way, it was a lot of what's called how I'm considered like a zillennial, like a between a millennial and zillennial.
How old are you?
Is basically I'm 28.
Okay, you're a millennial.
Wherever, yeah, but they say something because it's like right, like a couple years down from me, like literally like 3 years down from me is like a zillennial. So they say like, oh, that's whatever Zoomer or whatever the hell it's called, that Z's and stuff. So I was like, okay, I thought it was like during that time, it seems like it was the younger the younger boomers and the older Xers are the ones that's are the ones that was what's it called? Been the majority of the parents of us that was causing all this kind of crap. And that been lying and been just on the Democratic Party side all this time and not even telling the true history and stuff, like what's actually been going on in the Black community. So if you kind of get where I'm coming from.
Well, you know what? I'm going to say this, and then I have to hop off.
Okay.
A lot of folks, yeah. What I'm realizing is that we're all physically on this planet, but we're not all in the same world. So a lot of folks don't know what's happening on YouTube. Folks are not privy to the things that we're learning here, the things that we're exposed to here. So take my mom, for example. She watches MSNBC every night.
Oh Lord.
So folks are living on the same ideas and the same interpretations of history that they've been living on for the last 50 years. Yeah. So a lot of folks don't know, and they don't trust what's being discussed online. So it's just that's what I would say to that. A lot of folks just don't know. A lot of folks just don't want to know anything beyond what they think and what they feel in their hearts.
You know what? You damn right.
Hold on, wait a minute. Let me finish. I'll be the first to tell you, as somebody who gets most of the news from the internet, you have to watch your sources. Not everybody's going to give you accurate information.
True.
And I do understand. I do understand the older generation's problem with that. I do watch my sources, but one of the big problems is that they're just flat out lying to on all the news stations, not just MSNBC and Fox News, but CNN and the other ones too.
Yeah. All right, AB, if I can come back up, I'll come back up.
All right. Thanks for coming up, Dr.
All right, take care. Peace.
Always a pleasure.
You have a great day, man. Stay blessed.
All right.
Yeah. This time around, this election cycle, I'm just not going to let them shame everybody into voting for Joe Biden. I just can't. I just can't let it happen. I'm just going to dissect some accurate information. Now, to be fair with him on the student debt, he's allegedly trying to use another method to cancel some student debt. We'll see how that works out.
I don't believe him because they already said that he could have been easily vetoed it, but he just did it the wrong way on purpose just to get the damn vote for the midterms.
Yeah, I don't believe him either.
Mm.
Now, the alleged excuse for him doing it that way is because I guess this was a Trump era policy, and they figured because it was a Trump era policy that the Republicans would let it slide, but they're Republicans. They don't let anything slide, even if it's their own policy. Case in point, a lot of people don't know Obamacare was a Republican policy. It was
Yeah, I heard.
it was actually
Newt
created by
Gingrich?
Mitt
No.
Romney.
Yeah, Mitt Romney. Sorry, my bad.
Mitt Romney instituted this policy. And a lot of people don't know that, but Obamacare is a Republican policy. That's why Bernie Sanders was advocating Medicare for all, which is more of the socialist policy, or at least a public option, which is a government-backed insurance plan. But as I said before, we can go ahead and let me unshare that. This is my thoughts on Bidenomics. Oh, press the wrong. There we go. That's my thoughts on Bidenomics. High interest rates, high food prices, high car prices. Some of this is not his fault. Some of it's supply chain and some other stuff, but it's mostly
Hey
his
man, he
fault
been in
because
politics for a long time, so don't put all of it on him either way. He been in
he's
for
not.
how many years?
I put probably around 40 or 50 years. Since the 60s.
So he could touch every single law that's been going on so far. So I'm still gonna blame everything on him because go ahead, sorry.
Here's what a lot of people are not talking about too. Biden's mentor was Strom Thurmond, and if you don't know who Strom Thurmond is, for those of you who don't know that, who don't read far enough back in your history, you see a lot of the racist Republicans that you see now used to be Democrats. And
the
Dixiecrats. And actually, if you go back and even further in history, Democrats were slave owners, and they also advocated for the Ku Klux Klan. In fact, when I hear people tell me that Trump's the most racist president we ever had, I don't think you understand how scary it is.
That's a damn lie.
No. It's worse than that. It's worse than it's just a damn lie. I don't know if I could put him in the top 20 most racist presidents. If you look at the history, it's pretty bad.
Blasphemy? No. Is there a stronger word than blasphemy? No.
No, that's not blasphemy at all. You have to understand, it's virtually impossible to put him in the top 10. And for this simple reason, you have to understand 12 of your first 16 presidents. Y'all hit the cash app for this shit. I'm giving you some real history. 12 of your first 16 presidents were slave owners. 12 of your first, that automatically disqualifies him from the top 10. 12 of your first 16 presidents owned your ass. What's going on, Jules? Come up if you want to talk about this. But yeah, 12 of your first 16 presidents owned your ass. And there's a whole bunch of presidents you could put in front of Trump. And not just Republicans, Democrats too. I would definitely put Ronald Reagan in front of Trump. This one's what Black Trust who says I kissed the Republican Party's ass, and no, I'll put Ronald Reagan in front of you. I would put Richard Nixon in front of him. I would also put a few Democrat presidents in front of him. Woodrow Wilson. You ever heard of that film, The Birth of the Nation?
Wait, isn't he the one that created it?
No, he didn't create it, but he had it played in the White House.
There it goes. That's where I know. Yes, that's where it was.
I forget the author of the Birth of the Nation's name, but it's that movie where
Yeah, white people playing blackface and saying that, oh, the black guy is a rapist or something, taking women out to the white women out to the bushes and all this other crap. It was a silent film, wasn't it?
Oh, by the way, a funny story. If you, I watched this meme somebody put up. If you look at, January 6th, which also I don't deny, I also don't deny Biden won the election, but you won't hear that from the Black Brain Trust. But I don't deny Biden won the election. But when they were showing the camera, the footage of January 6th, there's actually a scene from the Birth of the Nations where Black people take over the Congress, and it looks very similar because their feet up on the table. They all relaxed and stuff. But they compare and contrast those pictures, and it looks very similar.
I'll definitely look it up.
And oh gosh, we listen to Black Brain Trust. We defend the people of January 6th. I don't defend those motherfuckers. We got some inside information from he's now Sergeant Charles Faulkner Jr. that them dudes did some nasty shit, man. They spread feces all over the Capitol and shit. I'm like, oh, they were cleaning up feces and everything. It was awful. I'm not defending those assholes.
Hey, I'm not defending, but I'm not gonna say like they ain't wrong.
I ain't defending at all.
It's like, I put it like this. It's like OJ's trial.
And here's the funny part. I don't believe Mitt Trump's a sore loser. But here's how I look at it. Hillary Clinton had no business losing to him in the first place. That she lost that election. That was completely Hillary Clinton's fault that she lost that election. She can't put that on Trump. As I said earlier, I perfectly understood why white people in those usually Democrat districts didn't vote for Hillary. They remember that Bill Clinton shipped their jobs overseas, and they made Hillary pay for it back in 2016. So that was not a shock to me at all. I was like, well, shit, I don't blame them. That's why you got a bunch of rural towns now that were Democrat and now they're Republican. Oops. And it is what it is. And as even people on the left are starting to point out, Democrats have abandoned the middle class, and for more affluent rich folk, and that's why people don't want to vote for Democrats anymore. And not to mention the crap that didn't. They're lucky they still have black folk. You see how long that's
which is that's what it's just like. I'm like, my main goal now this year and next year is really go spread the word out to everybody I know. Like black person I know is like, dude, we gotta really tell the truth about this dude and call out everything, because I refuse for black people to be pawns again, like to keep on doing this shit, because this dude would have never been elected or everything like that if it wasn't for us. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I hate to say this to you, but some of them are going to be pawns again, and there's nothing we can do about it. But I'm trying to say as many as I can. It's just the ugly truth. I wish it weren't true, but some more people are just going to be pawns again. I wish it weren't true, but it is what it is. That's one of the reasons why I'm calling the Black Brain Trust, because they've proven themselves to be pawns.
And that's another thing, is just a lot of these older, what? Oh,
what's going on,
Mr. Snow?
You mentioned the word pawns.
Yes.
Growing up in Chicago, you mentioned the black community
kind of
being pawns. I'm sorry. Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, pretty much. Go ahead. Yeah, you're good.
You mentioned the black community as a whole being pawns. Oh, did I say that aloud?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Growing up in Chicago, that's all I saw. And for the most part, didn't have the balls to say or do anything about it, which is sad. And every election cycle since then, my only 4 words are, here we go again.
Pretty much.
And when I became of age and had the right to vote, and that was when I turned 18 in 1990, and I registered to vote. You know how many times I voted since I've registered? 2.
Okay. And I'll be up front. That used to hurt my feelings. It don't hurt my feelings no more. I see why people don't vote. And as I said earlier, I have to shout out Dr. Cornel West. I don't think he'll win, but he actually gave me a real third option.
Mm-hmm. But they won't let him live. They won't let him live it out, or live it down, because he is not a part of the not according to the populace. He's not
a part of the club.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
That's just total BS.
Yeah, and somebody mentioned Ice Cube. That's the other reason I've been on Black Lane Trust. They hating on Ice Cube for doing what he's trying to do, trying to help black people by talking to either party. That's how other inquiries is kept. That's how other groups do it. They talk to both parties.
You realize you.
Killer Mike figured that out. He was talking to the governor in Georgia.
Yep. You realize you used an oxymoron.
What's that?
Black Brain Trust.
Oh, you're right. I told BGS this on Patreon later. I'll say it to their face. They're not the Black Brain Trust. They're the Black Democrat Trust.
I'll say it to their face and not give 2 fucks about it. I'll say it to their goddamn face. Because the last time someone tried to get me to vote, I say, you know what? The last time someone tried to get me a vote was 2016.
Okay.
And I flipped them off and walked away.
Oh, I wish I would have done that. As I said, and I openly confess this, I held my nose and voted for Hillary Clinton, and I still can't get that stench out of my nose.
You won't be.
Dude, I voted for Biden, and that still gets on my last nerves right now. Like, you don't understand how much, like, what's it called? I was raised to be a coon, and how much this is really aggravating my soul. How much of a coon I really was, like, to vote for that dude.
I don't want to hear from any any of these vote blue, no matter who motherfuckers, because I voted for Democrats for years. I voted for Obama twice. Hell, I even voted for John Kerry.
I have a sound for you, AB. I have a sound for both of you about voting and the turnout since then.
God, yes. Rest in power to the Godfather, Kevin Samuels.
Because you can't make this up.
Seriously,
you seriously cannot make this up.
But I feel like I had to cover Bidenomics because I'm not gonna let you just spread this crap, without any pushback whatsoever.
Once again,
God, you can't make this shit up.
And here's my thoughts on Bidenomics. As I said before, let's get high. Isn't it funny how the guy that passed the 1994 crime bill that locked up probably millions of black men on crack cocaine charges? As president, they find cocaine in the White House. And to my response to that is, well, I guess he should have let Hunter Biden visit, but anyway. Yeah, pretty much. High tech prices.
That is my sound response for the political climate right now. You understand? Because when I lived, AB, you're gonna smile or you're gonna cringe at the same time. I lived in LaPorte, Indiana for 2 years.
Ooh.
And any Hoosiers know LaPorte is about 20 minutes away from Michigan City. I covered LaPorte football, basketball, and baseball while dealing with a political bitch who tried. I mean, listen, man. She worked for the Laporte Republican Party.
Okay.
She invited me to this. What the fuck was it? She invited me to this barbecue that a bunch of Republicans were gonna be at
Okay.
because it was a local election. It was 2015. It was a local election,
By the
and
way,
she won.
that's my other dig at the Black Flame Crest. We talk shit about Republicans here too. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I talk shit about everybody.
In fact, I got a story after you get finished. Go ahead.
You're gonna love this one. So she invited me to this party that was at this condo on the lake in LaPorte, Indiana. There's an oxymoron for you.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted me to hobnob with every Republican in there, and all I did was eat and drink, and I went home.
Okay.
She called me the next day. She said, "Did you talk to the people I introduced you to?" Fuck no. And she says, "Why not?" Because they were going to try to get me to vote, and I ain't having it.
Your prerogative.
But do you realize how much they can do for the city of LaPorte? They're all full of shit.
Oh yes, that's my argument. I do have some conservative values. That's my main argument against Republican. Most of those
They're
motherfuckers
all
are full of
of
shit.
shit. They're full of
In
shit.
fact,
Exactly. They're all full of shit.
if you actually look at my description, I have a article about Republican on Republican crime. You familiar with Margie Taylor Greene?
I am.
Well, here's some funny shit.
Yes, sir.
Apparently, she got in a fight with another Congress woman on the floor, and it wasn't a Democrat; it was another Republican. And apparently, and when it was over, it's gonna have you bust out laughing. But apparently, during this argument, she called this other lady, I forget her name, a little bitch.
Okay. What did I say before?
Like I said, yeah. Oh no, you'll play it again because guess what? This was all over. This
Try
was
me.
all over. Who got to impeach Joe Biden?
God damn it! You can't make this shit up.
And actually, to the Republicans in the House credit, apparently both of these plans to impeach Biden were so bad, they told both of them to take a hike.
I'm the juggernaut, bitch! God damn it! You can't make this shit up.
See, a lot of people on Facebook think that I'm pro-Republican. No, I'm not. Most of them are full of shit too.
Most of these people on Facebook don't know who you are, what you stand for, and why you
Some of them
post
do. I know him personally in real life, but yeah, go ahead.
right, and why you post the stuff that you do, because you're a stand-up guy and you stand behind what you believe in, which is a rarity in America, part one, and part two, and you know where I'm going, it's a rarity in the Black community.
Oh yes.
And as AB would say best, oops, did I say that aloud?
I wish I could do it like the late great Paul Bear. Oh yes. You wouldn't have to have the sound effect, but you could. That's just a classic.
I will say this. I don't have that yet.
That's a classic.
Wait. Oh, I got a classic sound effect for you, and I discovered this in 2016 while I was in LaPorte. Like I said, you're a stand-up guy and you stand behind what you believe in. A rarity in the Black community.
Excuse me, bitch.
Oh wow.
In fact, Jay, you're gonna love me for this, and AB, you know what's coming. You know what I'm about to play.
Uh-oh.
My thoughts on both political parties right now. And then I'll back it up with this one. As far as the political climate goes, my only question is,
What in the all types of blue hell?
We got these knuckleheads that talk about we need to vote blue no matter who. Here's the funny part: blue's my favorite color, but I ain't voting for these jackasses.
vote blue. You know what? My father didn't
I
even
ain't
tell
for
me.
vote red. I'm like, I'm for pick one. If you don't find one to pick, stay home.
Mm-hmm. You know what makes it so bad? This is the wisdom of my dad. My dad didn't even tell me to go vote. My dad did not impress that on me at all. And I'll give you a guess as to who was trying to get me to vote for many years. It wasn't Pops.
Your
Your
mother.
mom, just like mine.
Yep.
Same here.
With the same message. Vote Democrat no matter what.
Yep.
I went.
My owner wanted me to vote for
To my
Hillary.
mother's credit, and
You want to know
shout out to
you
my
want to know
mom.
something crazy?
It'll be 10 years since she passed the 17th of this month. But to my
Rest-
mother's credit, she's like, I may be a Democrat, but you've always had conservative blood in you. My father was a
Mhm.
Republican.
I
And
got
so
this.
slowly but surely it started to come out.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you this one. When I lived with my mom in 2012, of course, which was a huge election cycle, I didn't even register. I didn't even want to deal with it. Guess who made me go register?
Understood. Brother?
I didn't even want to go register, but I heard my sister and my mother having a very heated discussion. And I said, I'm not having any of this shit. I put my computer in my bag. I packed my mixer, my headset, everything broadcast wise I could lay my hands on because I was hell bent to go spend the day at Starbucks and say, fuck all y'all.
Now,
Yeah,
believe it or not, my mother didn't force me to go register. I actually registered at Black Expo.
nice. I'm trying to
I
link
haven't been to Black Expo in over 10 years, but that's where I registered to vote. Was Black
Nice.
Expo. It was a nice event.
Wish
Although I
me.
like to I hate to say this about Black Expo, but I go on Sundays because less of the riffraff is there. I'm not
Yep.
likely to get shot.
And
Hence the reason
and
I
I'm not.
don't ever go to Circle Center because it's not worth getting shot to go to Circle Center. Sorry,
It really
Indianapolis, it is
isn't.
what it is.
It really isn't. The first time I ever went to Circle Center was 2003.
Ooh,
And yeah, when they were just like really hyping the place up. And the young lady I was dating at the time wanted to meet me at the Circle Center. I
okay.
walked in there. I met her, gave her a kiss. We rode downstairs, and I told her, "Don't you ever have me meet you in that joint again." And she bust out laughing.
Yeah.
But y'all wish me luck. I'm waiting on a response to call the Circle City Classic because apparently there's going to be a football game this year.
Oh
And
wow.
Man, I'm wishing the best for
I'm
you. You know.
I'm going to show
Are they
these
actually going to do it this year, or are they going to fake us out?
Well, I got a request into the media contact, and I'm going to call them tomorrow and Wednesday and bug the piss out of them. I'm doing the same for the HBCU Classic at Soldier Field. 2 reasons why I want to do both of those games. 1, it gets me in the booth for college football, and 2, my wife is going to be with me.
Yeah, just 1 second. Thank you, Aquatech, for the $5 cash app. Continue.
Hey, thank you. Salute. Please support the stream, folks. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and let's show some support for AB Media. Let me bring in my inner Charles Faulkner. Let's support black male content creators.
Yep. Shout out to Charles Faulkner Jr. You have to be the hero of your own narrative. Can't wait on
Yep.
people to be your hero.
Yep.
But the one of the main reasons I wanted to do this video, one of the main economists that BGS listens to is a guy named Richard Wolff,
Yeah.
and he basically I showed a video. He basically decimates Bidenomics,
Mm-hmm.
and I told you at the beginning of the video, you ought to take my word for it. Listen to what economists are saying about Bidenomics. You don't need to take my word. Well, this dude's smarter than me. And let me pull it up. Here we go. I like this little format right here where everybody's on the bottom. And yeah, that's Joe Biden. Joe Biden himself. This is not something I've made up, folks. Joe Biden calls this Bidenomics. But let's play a little bit of this interview again.
Here we wait. Before you play the interview, I will play this.
Professor Richard Wolff, you're
You can't make this shit up.
I'll play that in advance.
Pretty much.
You can't
always a welcome guest here on the Mother of All Talk Shows, and I'm glad that you could join us this evening. Tell us about this Bidenomics.
Don't do that.
Well, mostly Bidenomics is pretty much the standard kind of mishmash of half-baked ideas designed to keep the base of the political party, the Democratic Party, reasonably happy, sound good to as many other people as possible, carefully avoid honestly dealing with any problem at all, lest it be understood as recognizing that that problem exists. And that's what you have. You sent Mr. Blanken to China a few days ago. He tried to do something that was a little less aggressive than has been the norm. But while he was doing that, his boss, Mr. Biden, geared up to call Xi Jinping a dictator, because Americans really like to hear about how dictators are elsewhere, whereas we here live in the greatest democracy.
Wait a minute, go on and play. Go on and play. I gotta hear that again. From the Godfather.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up.
Actually, one of the reasons I'm playing this video is this is also I'm sorry I got called the Black Brain Trust again. They were arguing with
you quit using that oxymoron, for God's sakes.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm the Black Democrat Trust. The Black
That's
Democrat
a bigger oxymoron. That's a bigger oxymoron. The hell is wrong with you? And to both of those terms, and of course I'm joking around. And to both of those terms,
God damn it! You can't make this shit up.
why don't you just say it the way I say it? Why don't you just? Okay, go ahead.
BGS was arguing with one of them, and their bright idea was to argue that the economy is great. Biden's economy was great. There are no big problems. Jobs have increased. Yada yada yada. There's no big problem whatsoever. 5 banks didn't fail. Adrian just sent me an article like 50 corporations went bankrupt last month. There's nothing wrong with the economy. Biden has a great economy, and I'm just sitting there with my. You know how you watch the old Tom and Jerry cartoons and they mouth drops to the floor.
Yes,
that's what my mouth looked like when I heard that shit. I'm like y'all just being disingenuous. I can't let this shit fly.
No, you can't.
The world has ever seen, etc., etc., etc. Janet Yellen's trip, whatever it contains, will for sure carry on with suggestions that the Chinese should change their economic system, they change their government and their minority. This coming from a country that has much greater problems with minorities than China has ever had, treats them, and a larger number of them, much worse than what you see in China, not to defend the Chinese, but the hypocrisy, the behavior,
nothing really
it is for a growing number of Americans, above all, embarrassing.
Yep.
Carry on, as if nothing really matters.
But let me answer your question directly. The biggest economic problems of the United States can be summarized in this way. We are a declining empire, following in our decline a similar trajectory to what happened to the British Empire a century earlier. We are a capitalism that has produced a level of inequality that is fundamentally unsustainable because it clashes so basically with the carefully cultivated self-image of the United States as not being torn apart by extremes of wealth and poverty. Mr. Biden, like his Republican counterparts, says not one word about either of these. For many of us watching who have been born and raised and lived in the United States all of our lives, like me, what is the most stunning thing about Bidenomics is its utter emptiness, its utter denial of the most fundamental problems. How are you going to deal with a population that thought the American empire would go on and be dominant forever, more and more?
What's going on, neighbor?
I'm good. First of all, to answer Dr. A, what's good? Brian. First of all, one thing I think people are forgetting about regarding Mr. Biden, his whole thing is empty because he's empty in the head, because his brain is slowly deteriorating due to dementia. Due to dementia. I didn't say due to dementia.
Yeah, neighbor, be careful. They're going to accuse you of hating old people.
No offense, but I've referred to both Mr. Trump and Mr. Biden as a couple of geriatrics. So fuck everybody.
Okay, fair enough.
And given that I am not a U.S. citizen nor African American, so fuck everybody. In fact, like George Carlin, fuck this Democratic old fart, fuck this senile old Trump bastard, and come to think of it, fuck everybody. As I'm thinking,
fuck these boomers, fuck these yuppies, and fuck
these cocksuckers, and fuck everybody.
Now that the BRICS have a bigger economic footprint in the world than does the G7, the United States and its allies. Now that the Chinese have demonstrated that they can do the technical wonders that the United States once pretended were uniquely its own creation, and on and on and on. There is a disconnect between not just the government and the mass of people, but the media, but the academic establishment.
Yeah.
There is a gulf.
With what he just said, I have a forward question, and you two know it very well. Who told this lie?
Just to be pornographic when I say this.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear.
It's funny that I'm going to say this, but you got a better chance of an anorexic chick getting jizzed on in a bukkake involving a bunch of eunuchs, a bunch of castrated eunuchs, than this shit coming true.
Damn.
Oh God, I've done report papers on anorexia. That's pretty bad.
That's awful. Damn.
You have to understand.
I said, hey, it's not just an anorexic chick. I did say a bunch of castrated eunuchs.
Yeah.
Give a jizzing on her in a bukkake.
Yeah, you have to understand. After doing a research paper on anorexia, I don't even look at chicks if they have unless they have a certain amount of fat on them. That's how bad.
Hey, name.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you, AB.
Let's not get it twisted. I'm not saying I would like little side chicks, but they have to have a certain amount of fat on them. Otherwise, I won't even deal with them.
Hey, sick. I got a Carlinism for you.
Please.
Bad shit, dirty old twat. 69 assholes tied in a knot. Hooray! Lizard shit. Fuck.
Lord have mercy.
I'm looking forward to turning 70
opening up
like the old fuck reference. Oh, excuse me. Like the old fuck reference.
Which probably will have more to do with what happens in the future than anything else. We are making colossal mistakes.
Now, Dr. Wolf, don't talk about them and starting a proxy war with Ukraine like that. Oops. Did I say that out loud?
AB, if I can
Ukraine.
interject for a moment.
Go ahead.
Let's not forget a couple of things here. Let's not say that everything in the BRICS is all rainbows and sunshine over there. Because you're forgetting, like, there's two members in there we got to consider, first of all, India and China. Both of them are
India.
competing. Because India is in the BRICS. And remember, although they're a U.S. ally and geopolitically are rivals with China, they figured if you can't beat them, join them, and then beat them from within.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody knows right now, China, due to the one-child policy, is going to go through a population implosion.
Yeah.
India,
that's
same thing. Yes, India, their population is going to overtake China's, but the problem is, like China, they have a huge sex ratio disparity, more men than women.
Yeah, because most people
for different reasons, however.
Yeah. Let's finish.
So you have to. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Ukraine is only the most recent misunderstanding of what the relation of forces really is. Remember, our president told us that the ruble would become rubble in a matter of weeks. Didn't happen.
Oops. Yeah, Biden said the ruble will become rubble in a few weeks. Here's the problem. It's what is it? What did I say earlier? Oh yeah, a year and a half later.
That the Russian economy would disintegrate in a matter of weeks. Didn't happen. That the Ukrainians would be victorious. Didn't happen. I could keep going, but the point should be clear. We are not a society that is able anymore to make reasonable decisions because it is so busy denying the fundamental crisis it faces.
And these are, by the way, these are lefties. These are not right-wingers saying this. These are lefties saying this about Bidenomics.
Not only that.
Go on
Not only that, but they also understand that Biden is not even on the left himself.
Exactly. He's conservative.
He's a Democratic third. And by the way, he was mentored by segregationists. Yeah. He was mentored by segregationists, and people forget the Mason-Dixon line passes through Delaware. The state is divided by the Mason-Dixon line. So if you are west or south of that line, it's not uncommon for people to have the old stars and bars or his flag waving.
Yeah, but let's continue.
And on. I wish you would go on and on. I'd rather give the whole show now over to you, but let me take you back to Reaganomics. I'm so old, I remember when that was a thing. And a good friend of mine, to trickle down. In Bidenomics, the wealth just effing disappears. Is that a fair characterization?
Yeah, pretty much. How much they sent over to Ukraine? $100 billion, and they didn't know how half that shit was spent.
Well, yes, I would amend it slightly. Reaganomics was an argument about a trickle down that never happened, and Mr. Biden
agreed. Actually call Reaganomics piss on you economics. That's how I look at it. It's piss on you economics.
Is a president who rails against Reaganomics, but does absolutely nothing to deal with the fact that not only did the wealth not trickle down, but it is crystal clear that in a magical denial of gravity, it trickled up. That we have had a growing inequality that has actually gotten worse, both at the time of Reagan and now. We have had a 40, 50 years of uninterrupted redistribution of wealth upward. And that is causing this country to blow apart. The support that I'm sure interests Europeans, the support for white supremacy, the support for an out-of-control, endless liar, grifter, a hustler like Trump, the creation of more and more like him, they all feed off of the bitter anger of masses of people whose jobs are insecure, whose incomes are now inadequate, who went through the redistribution of wealth, then the crash of our economy in 2020, then the pandemic, now the inflation, now the rising interest rates. It's almost a biblical situation of 7 plagues, only they're economic, they're matters of choice of a government so far disconnected that the majority of people left, right, and center hate the government, have no confidence, no belief in anybody who comes forward. We will.
But yeah, that's the gist of that video. You can if the link's in the description. If you want to go back and watch that video, you can. But
I'm glad I'm over here. But
yeah, where you again? Norway, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. And we are also being affected by everything. The price of things going up. Sometimes you got to be like, you got to be a little more feasible with your shit.
Yeah.
Be more mindful. I'm glad, being the son of immigrant parents, although I was born in another country, but like Mrs. Eve, you got to thank your mom for teaching you how to haggle. Unfortunately, that cat doesn't work here. But you learn how to be fucking cheap.
Yeah.
And miserly. So sometimes it's like, hey, how much can I do for this? Okay, let me look at what other options can I go to. And sometimes I go to some places and I need to get something. Decide, you know what? Thank God there's more than one chain. There's not a monopoly on certain things like supermarket chains and whatnot. So I'm thinking, hey, if I need this, that, and the third for my list, I'll go to this store where I can get it better paid. More bang for my buck. If I need this, that, and the third, I'll go where I can get it cheaper.
Right.
Not to mention, given that, some of these supermarket chains, they have like some types of reward programs. So I got to ask myself, all right, which one is more cost effective? Even though I'm on I'm on most of those programs, I think, hey, which one's the most cost effective for me?
Yeah, I'm about to shut the stream down. I've been on for almost 2 hours, and believe it or not, I did this on my dialysis day. So I'm tired of
saying. What?
I did this on
man,
my dialysis.
How bad was it today?
Got on late, but it went all right. I got a couple other things I got to talk about too. Apparently, I got to talk about Moist Watkins going super sip saying on everybody because Corey Holcomb's been tearing them apart.
Corey Holcomb is a cool cat, but he's a fucking asshole at the same time.
Oh yes.
So understand that, as a, he reminds me of, who he reminds me of? He's like a cross of Dick Gregory back when he was heavyset and Fred Berry, aka Rerun from What's Happening.
Okay.
Just looking at him, but
he's upset because Corey Holcomb destroyed him by just showing pictures of his wife, and the pictures were for 1,000 words. He showed like a picture of him proposing on one knee to her, and she's looking like, I have no more options.
First of all, where did he get the pictures is my question.
I guess he got them from Voices in Instagram and stuff.
Well, if he put if Voice, if Mr. Dr. Watkins put it out there himself, okay, that you and shame on Dr. Watkins. You set yourself.
He also showed a picture of him at his wedding, and there's a picture of him, Willie D, and Dr. Boys, and she looked at Willie D like, why couldn't it be you?
Yeah, but then again, Willie D broke, ain't he?
I don't know. I don't keep up with them. Oh,
I mean, from the
what
Ghetto
up,
Boys. Think
Jules?
about it. Hey, Jules. But think about it. From the Ghetto Boys, Scarface has had the most successful solo career and has gone on to do bigger and better things. Bushwick Bill passed away. Whatever happened to Willie D?
Mm-hmm. What's going on, Jules? What you got to add to this? Other than cuts, Jules, you there?
Are we gonna say like Obsidian? Cuts.
Cuts.
Oh,
Jules.
I figured it out.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been doing work on my office setup, so some of my plugs are slipping, and yeah. No, you got it about right. Like cuts are coming, and people don't see it. The Fed funds rate and what they've been doing with the Federal Reserve, all that stuff it's coming to a head, and America's trying to figure out how do they stop what they want and then get going what they want, and it's not looking pretty. Like they want to keep it at that 2%, and I don't think they're going to be able to do it because the way Volcker did it back 30 years ago, 40 years ago, they wanted to get it down to 0% inflation. And 2% is historical average and is good, but there's no way they're going to be able to do that and do it the way Volcker did. Because if they shoot that interest rate up to 19%, it'll crash every bank in this country.
Here's a question, because this has been a long time coming, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And every generation, every year in Congress, all they did was just kick the can further down the road.
Yeah, but as BGS
What happened?
Wait a minute. As BGS pointed out, apparently there's no more road for them to kick it down.
It's a dead end. They're just basically at a dead end. This is like when you just basically hit a wall.
Yeah.
Or it's just like Martin Lawrence in that car chase in Bad Boys. We're at a fucking road.
Yeah, because I was saying, Volcker wanted to do. Oh, go ahead, man.
One thing that, as I told Namer, one thing that inspired this video is my mouth literally dropped the floor when I was listening to BGS argue with the Going from the Black Brain Trust, and he talking about the economy's doing great, and I'm just like, huh? And
a lot of people have jobs.
Smoking.
A lot of people have jobs, and not great jobs, but a lot of people are working. So
yeah, that's true. Moving. That's true. The job numbers are up. I admit that. But rent has not cut up rent.
I'd be asking him, based on what? Were you just glancing at the reports, or did you look into the details specifically? And were you sober when you did this? That's what I'd ask him. But they're saying all this just to be contrary.
I'm not a financial guy, but I thought it was just me. But when I was talking to BGS on it, he even Salter said, "Huh?" I was like, "Okay, it's not just me."
Dude,
like,
look
what is
around.
this dude smoking?
Yeah, pretty much everything is overpriced. Everything is overpriced, right? Actually, one of the few things that's going a little bit underpriced is wheat, and it's partially because of that Budweiser campaign. Because if you have
I haven't really kept up with the Budweiser campaign, but
yeah, that's one of the things that like kind of slipped under the radar. People care about the advertising, but it did kind of mess up one of the biggest wheat buyers in the world. Like that, because that's really what Anheuser-Busch does, or InBev, whatever, is that they buy wheat and other commodities at a good price. So if they're not a buyer because they can't sell, then it frees up a lot of wheat. So if you have a brewing company that's trying to get some market share, now's a good time.
Wow. Yeah, because I heard Budweiser ain't the number one beer anymore. I don't drink beer, so I couldn't tell you to begin with anyway. But
I remember it was like, it's either Coors, because let me tell you something. After that ad that Budweiser put out with the trans person, don't be surprised if people are like, you know what, fuck that. I'm switching to Miller. I'm switching to Coors. Heineken ain't so bad. People will vote with their wallets. I mean, who remembers was it 4 years ago with Gillette?
Yeah. Well, they were already losing market share because there was a bunch of like smaller companies that were coming out with like bespoke razors, or like smaller companies. There was a bunch of college guys who bought like a company in Germany and made their own razors. and then they wound up doing
Harry's
like viral
Razors.
marketing. Yeah,
It's
and they
Harry's
wound up
Razors. I remember because one of the podcasters, Mike Duncan, History of Rome and Revolutions.
Yeah, and they
He
cornered that
is-
market pretty well.
Yeah. Don't forget the Dollar Shave Club because they got bought out
Mhm.
by Procter and Gamble.
There was a brother who got in the game too with that bevel product, and he had a good product. He just didn't get as much market share because not a lot of black men are going to do straight razors unless they're shaving their head.
Oh, straight. Well, but then again, you gotta understand. I remember it was like.
But it's a good product. It's a good product, man.
No.
Like 10 cents a
What I
razor.
wanna, yeah, I know, I get it, but here's the thing. I believe Dr. T. Hassan has mentioned this, as did Charles. Like, especially like in the military, like, you know, you issue standard razors like that, especially if they're not ideal for black men because, you know, our skin texture is different and, you know, our skin's sensitive to other things. It could cause razor bumps and shit like that. So unless this guy did some research, or he had something designed for black men in particular, they're not messing with that type of razors. I mean, I take me for example. I gave up. I finally got rid of my Gillette handles and finally got what's called a skull shaver.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that company, they do it for face and head, but you know, you can use that also for other parts of your body. But I've got sensitive skin, and you know, the products that, you know, Wilkinson Sword and Gillette didn't really appeal to me. So I got a skull shaver, but they got these they have these specific types of razors. One's called a carver, that's for guys with coarse hair. Then you have the Forte, which is for everybody, and then there's one called Baron, which are designed for people with sensitive skin. So I finally got my, you know, the Baron blades, and works like a charm. Shaved head in just in a minute and a half.
Keep it clean. Yeah,
Keep it clean, smooth.
I'll say going back to the economic stuff is, if you look at they're talking about how like there's not a housing crash, and there's technically not. But if you look outside of the top 20 real estate markets, everything else is starting to go in a downturn, like quarter over quarter, year over year. It's down about an average of 2%. Some places it's higher, some places it's lower, but things are starting to catch up. And it's something they should have fixed in 2008, or at least like let sink and then let them repair it at that point. But they've been pumping air into a bike tire that has too many holes in it.
Yeah, they're trying to say that they're trying to keep the banks on life support.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right about that. The Democrats have a lot of stuff that they got to own it, and they never will. And a lot of black folks are going to tell people to go and vote for just down ballot Democrat. And I've never been of that variety, just because when you work in or around the Hill, you realize that the game is rigged. Yeah, because a lot of these people hang out at the same restaurant. They hang out at the same
Democrats and Republicans, same restaurant.
Yeah.
They be yelling at each other on the floor.
Too.
They yell at each other on the floor. Then go to dinner and lunch with each other.
Yeah, the people who actually have like the titles of rep, senator, whatever, they go to, you know, the McSorleys. They go to the God, what's the place down? It's right near the White House too. There's a bunch of like, it's a high end area. It's off of probably 14th in like Massachusetts, but they all go there. Old Ebbitt, right? And then all the legislative aides, like, you know, the guys fresh out of college, girls fresh out of college, they all go to like the same bars on Capitol Hill, right near Union Station. Tune In is one, and God, there was an Irish pub, and like all these folks are, you know, they look like they're baby-faced 22-year-olds, but they are, you know, helping the people that are doing this type of stuff, and they're true believers too. They believe that like this Democrat's going to do it, this Republican's going to do it, and then they get into the muck. They make the sausage, and then they go, like, "Oh shit!"
They're these young, they're wide-eyed idealists.
Half the time, I don't even. I'm at the point now, Jules. When Republicans talk about they're going to cut shit, you know what? You know where I'm at right now, Jules. Let them do it. Yeah. And you know why?
They are.
Yeah. You know why I'm like, let them do it. You know why I'm like, let them do it. All right, let them do it. Because if you pay attention, if you actually look at the numbers, it's going to affect their people more than anybody else. The people that vote for them more than
it'll affect the poorest people. So if you're in like Arkansas or like
the rural
Arkansas, Indiana. So it'll affect the people who live in like the poorest areas there. But if you're already like tied in with the local network, if you're in like let's say if you're in Indianapolis and you have a building contract, you don't really have to worry about the federal stuff. But if you're building like interstate highways, then you really do. But if you're out in like the rural parts and you need certain healthcare or like social services, you really do. That's because they're making cuts on discretionary spending, and they're kind of a lot of health and human services stuff as that. but they're increasing spending on non-discretionary, so military spending. So they've made up their mind of where it's going to go, and they're paying out. They're going to make some cuts for Social Security, but they haven't passed anything for that. So it's going to be interesting. The next 4 to 8 years, you're going to see a lot of tight wallets. Like it's going to change how people are really living.
Yeah, and as I said before, shout out to Dr. Cornell West. He gave me a real third option. I don't think he'll win, but you know,
if he gets 5%, he opens up the door for a real third option.
Yeah.
All I can say is it doesn't matter who, if it's going to be a Democrat or a Republican, it doesn't matter who's going to be in the White House. At the end of the day, the United States public is collectively fucked. As they were collectively fucked in 2020, as they were collectively fucked in 2016.
Yeah. Well, it's going to go in deciles, roughly. Like the 1% is going to be pretty good. Some people are going to fall out of that. The 0.1%, yeah, like the 0.1% are the people who run everything. Like those are the Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Cargill.
Yeah, there's a lot of wealth hoarding going on right now.
Yeah, this is the 9.9%. Those are the people that are scared because they might drop down to being regular or worse. You know, because there's a lot of knowledge jobs that AI might just snip off. And then when you go past that, like that, let's say bottom 90%, that's when you get to like everybody else. You know, that's roughly the middle class.
Yeah. Not to mention, like, you know, there's not a lot of respect for certain occupations. See, that's the thing what the Europeans did is, yeah, if you're like, you know, doing blue collar work, they don't ridicule you for it because, you know, in school they do like aptitude tests on people when they're in high school, college. So if you get an apprenticeship to be like this, that, and the third, you're not mocked or shamed for it, especially considering, you know, they have unions. There is also protection, and people can live honest and have livable wages and whatnot.
Yeah, the Germans have like the middle stand, and they have a bunch of like I want to say most of the workers in Germany have at least one hard skill, like would be classified as blue collar skill. Like they have a trade. Like they go a lot more people go into trade schools, and they do pretty well.
In most European countries, you also have national service, so a lot of these people were military trained. So in case of war, many of them reservists are ready to report for duty.
Well,
I mean,
France will be kind of cooked.
France right now, it's 05. It's just a repeat, only worse of 2005, November 2005. If you remember those riots.
Yeah, bro. People don't realize how bad European countries can get when they start like rioting. Like they shut shit down, like and it becomes chaos.
Especially
when I saw the French police the window, I was like, "Whoa, how bad is it?"
Mm-hmm.
It got so bad, but the protesters fucked it up because even though I'm thinking it might have been a false flag, but the fact that they target that in one city, I think in one city, a suburb of Paris, they targeted the home of the mayor. Now he wasn't there, but his wife and his 2 children were there. His children were pelted. His family were pelted with like what do you call little firecrackers when they were trying to escape. Wife got a leg broken in the process, and one of the kids got hurt.
Yeah, that's not good.
That is, but you targeted the family because they rammed a burning car into the like the front gate. And so that's arson. That's attempted assassin. That's assault on a public official and their family. That's political. That's like a political assassination right there. No, it is a political assassination of sorts.
Attempt, yeah.
The minute you target public officials or their families like that, that's when you lose all credibility for your cause. And now,
also you got to remember, we were talking about it earlier. The French don't play when they riot for real. You got to remember they cut off the heads of the leaders back in the 19th century.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was in the beginning of the 19th century French Revolution before the Napoleonic Wars. But this is not then. That's the first republic we're talking about. This is the third edition of the republic. I mean,
we'll see what happens. I'm not saying you're wrong, but
no, I get what you're saying.
You got to remember the French's history.
No.
Yeah, I understand the French's history.
And I'm not don't get it twisted. I'm not condoning what they did at all.
Oh, I didn't say you were. Nobody's accused. Oh, Jules, you ain't shit.
Nah, man, I'm Haitian.
Yeah.
Bro, I know that look like that. The French have been living good lives the past 200 years,
Oh yeah.
and a lot of those people make like
Not
a
really.
lot of those. Well, I mean, the Africans in France, obviously not, but like that
Africans and
country,
Arabs and other Europeans.
yeah, yes, but like really, the French, they're barely a country. What product do you buy from France? Like,
Good
really
question. I
think
don't
about
know.
that. They are barely a country. They're lucky that they haven't taken a hit from the oil flow that's going on between the Ukraine thing, because they have a lot more nuclear reactors. But most people, like, if you want to talk about like what the average salary to like having this like 6-figure conversation over there, people would just lose their mind. Like the average salary over there is like 30,000 a year, if that.
It's in
But
euros
they
though.
get the work life, yeah, but they get the work life balance. But a lot of that is funneled from the fees they get from a lot of African banks or African gold that they extract a fee from. And that
But the
finances
fact that
a
the
lot of
French
French
are
lives.
holding the also the French are holding the coffers of many the hard currency coffers of many West African countries who were their
Yeah,
former colonies.
yeah.
And also
That's their
they
And
also
imperialism
and
print
because they
now
can't
and
hold
and also
territory
they
anymore.
print and they print and they also print out the was it the West African and Central African
Mhm.
francs for these countries because they're trying to do the single monetary fund, the single currency in their regions. I'm
Yeah,
like,
and they just and then when you look at like the way they have their outside of Paris, like most of the country is stuck in somewhere like the 1950s. Like they just don't have the industry in a lot of places. Like they have a pretty good industrial base and a pretty good
it's
economic base.
agricultural,
Yeah, a lot of it is. A lot of it is.
agricultural because a lot of them they still do like because agriculture is still big in France, like parts of like India, like
Yeah,
a lot of
but agriculture
wineries,
doesn't make you money. It really doesn't.
cheese,
Like,
dairy, whatnot. You know, there's an associate of mine. He's a second generation French national,
Mhm.
family's origin from North Africa. And we
Hey,
talk about
brothers,
this stuff.
I hate to cut this short, but I got to get going.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
y'all, thank y'all for coming
Hey,
up.
maybe we
And
can talk. Maybe we can talk. Continue talking on offline. Maybe with Jules.
yeah, y'all can stay
wait, what?
here. But I'm about to shut
Offline,
the
we can
Yeah.
probably chop it up.
I'm about to shut the stream down. Thank y'all for coming up. This is AB Media 83. I'm out.
Not at all.
Peace.
Bye bye.
Yo, this is AB Media 83. Want to support the channel? Hit the Cash App. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the video. Also, be sure to hit that bell notification so you can be notified the next time I upload a live stream or video. And always remember, keep it grinding, keep it pushing, keep it moving. This is AB Media 83. And I'm out. Peace.